How's everybody this morning?
Great.
Hey! Can we just go around really quick? Just introduce yourself, where you're from, and why you're here. Sir.
I'm David Hammer with Heartland AEA.
Uh-huh.
So, want to find out how you guys are using it.
You will. You will by the end of the day. Yeah? In front here, sir?
Hi, my name is Doug Snyder from Burlington, Iowa, Technology.
Very good. And
Adam Kurth, Director of Technology in Iowa City. I produce a lot of video content for staff and for the community.
Yeah.
And so accessibility, that's top of mind.
Iowa City, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're just down the hill from you.
Yep.
Okay. And behind?
Jason Marshall. I'm the Ed Tech Services Coordinator at Grantwood AEA in Cedar Rapids.
Very good. Very good. That's just right in our backyard, Iowa City. Yeah. And behind?
Heather Powers, Webster City, and for them.
Okay. My wife went to Webster City.
Oh, cool.
The Blinks, is that right? Yeah.
Yep.
It was many years ago. And we went there for a reunion. Boy, that place has changed. Yeah, yeah. And let's go back here.
Tom Borland, Southwestern Community College, business and computer science faculty and online faculty.
Very good. And back here, sir.
Patrick Donovan, Tech Coach Ames High.
Very good. And yes.
Craig Barnum, Director of Technology at College Community in Cedar Rapids.
Very good. So we got some tech directors. Oh, behind the camera?
I'm Caitlin. I'm from Webster City.
Webster City too? Okay, so WCTV, Webster City TV, is that what that means?
Yep.
Yay, very good. Well, good job.
Great.
I'm John Achrazoglou. I'm a faculty member at the College of Education, and plus I've got a dual role as Chief Technology Officer, okay? And this is?
I'm Patty Barr. I'm the director of iCater, which is the Iowa Center for Assistive Technology, Education and Research, also in the College of Ed. So we work just down the hallway from one another. And I've been at the university for about 3 years. John has been there for
32 years.
32 years. I didn't
yeah.
want to say that.
So we still call Patty the new kid for 3 years.
Yeah. So my degrees are in biomedical engineering, and started at what is now the CDD in Iowa City, working as a rehab engineer, and then worked in the Twin Cities for 24 years. That's where we raised our children. Came back to the University of Iowa just 3 years ago. So this has been a big change for me, but a lot of fun. I've just been
And during this presentation, if you stop us, if you have a question or you want to add something, just raise your hand or just blurt it out like I would, and we'll go on from there. But that's the kind of rapport we want to have, is communicating back and forth if possible. Okay?
So we're going to talk to you about captioning today, and we're just wondering, it sounds like most of you are doing some videos and you understand the importance of captioning. But I wanted to point out that Gernsbacher in 2015 reviewed 100 articles about captioning. And she found that captioning is important for all people. So auto captions, they also found that auto captions are not without error, and I think some of you have probably seen that. What most people don't understand is that U.S. law requires that captioning be there, mostly in the workplace, in educational context. And many of us are naive about the legal mandates for captioning. And I think a couple of you are like, yeah, we've got to get this done. But you may have heard that there have been a lot of lawsuits about captioning. And also, many people, I think, are naive about some of the benefits of captioning. So, who might benefit from captioning? Gernsbacher found that students learning English, so I thought, captioning, students using English, I thought that was kind of odd. But then when you think about it, you think about someone where English is not their first language, they may have learned to read and write English, just like you and I learned to read and write English. But they probably learned to listen to English and to speak English from someone that didn't have my Midwestern accent. It may have been a Mandarin British accent. So you can imagine how difficult it would be for them to listen to me and really understand what it is that I'm saying. I teach a class in the spring, and each semester I've had a student where English is not their first language. I, of course, caption all my videos. It's an online course, and I caption those. And they have thanked me each time that it's so much easier for them to listen to me and see what it is that I'm saying at the same time for them to understand the content of my class. People learning to read, whether they're adults learning to read or children learning to read, having that listening and seeing what it is that's being said at the same time helps everyone to learn to read. Of course, students with deafness and hard of hearing, that's what we usually think of for captioning. Students with listening disabilities, think about students that there's too much going on, it may be distracting for them to have any other thing going on in the room, and they can read. And then students with attention difficulties along those same lines. And then just people that prefer to listen rather than, or to read rather than listen. I, of course, like it the other way around. I love to be read to. So, and then there's the legal issues around captioning. Gershabacher talks about this too, but if you think about Section 504 of the Rehab Act, Education Act for All Handicapped Children, Americans with Disabilities Act, the Americans with Disabilities Act is where you're going to see most of the lawsuits. So you may have heard about lawsuits about content not being available for people that are blind. So that started earlier than some of the lawsuits about content not being accessible for people who are deaf or hard of hearing. But if you look through these, the Chafee Amendment for the copyright law and the fair use law, there's a video that talks about how the copyright law and the fair use law may be able to be used to allow us to caption other people's videos, not just our own videos. So there's an argument out there. I'm, of course, not a legal expert, but there is an argument out there that fair use, we should be able to caption other people's videos if they're not there, not available, so that they're available for everyone. Thought I'd go through a definition of captioning, and this is the definition from the National Association of the Deaf. I don't usually read slides, but I thought I would just read this one to you. Captioning is the process of converting the audio content of a television broadcast, webcast, film, video, CD-ROM, DVD, live event, or other productions into text and displaying the text on a screen, monitor, or other visual display system. It displays not only words as the textual equivalent of spoken dialogue or narration, and includes speaker identification, sound effects, and music description. So if you've ever seen some really good captions, you may see when someone's singing on a video, it may have notes next to it, or it may say music, and then have the notes next to it. It may have the crowd and a colon saying that the crowd is singing. So good captioning gives you everything that's going on. Rather than having a blank screen, it may say music in the background. It may say birds tweeting. So giving you some idea of what else is going on in the video. So now, if you think about the difference between closed captions, open captions, and real-time captions, closed captions are what most of us are used to. You see them in YouTube, there's a little CC down in the corner, and you can turn them on or you can turn them off. That's called closed captioning. Open captions, they're there all the time. You can't turn them on and off. They're just embedded right into the video. And then real-time captions. You may have seen people basically like a court reporter, stenographer, typing and having it come up on a screen live during a presentation. So that's what's called real-time captions.
Oh, my turn. Captioning is really, really an important issue now. It's growing in higher education. So we decided to have a call across campus. Let's get together, see what we're doing with captioning in all the different departments and colleges and stuff. Maybe come up with best practices and maybe a roadmap towards making all our materials captioned. Especially in light that the National Association for the Deaf is suing Harvard and MIT for a lot of their online materials not being captioned. The quote from the lawsuit says, just as buildings without ramps bar people who use wheelchairs, online content without captions excludes individuals who are deaf or hard of hearing. And that's been heard loud and clear in higher ed. So right now, what our policy is at the University of Iowa is anything that's broadcast out there widely. Sports promotions, marketing, external communications, promoting the institution stuff, it has to be captioned. If it's going public, if it's seen out there in the world, off campus, it's got to be captioned. But, and this is changing, come on in, materials that are sort of protected, like in Canvas, in Moodle, in Blackboard, they're protected by password. And particular course materials really right now are not required to be captioned. Although a lot of faculty think of best practices, try to caption it. And it's sort of mixed blessing in a way. Students who need this have to go through our Students with Disability Services, get evaluated, and then services that include people who might caption a video they're required to read or doing sign language during lectures or something like that is assigned. But sometimes those evaluations take almost a half a semester, and we're thinking, let's try to speed that up a little bit. But you know, the accommodations are there for students who are evaluated and assessed as needing those accommodations.
And can I just mention,
Yeah.
John, that at the University of Iowa, we think that there's probably around 11% of the population who have some sort of disability. At the University of Iowa, only 3% go to student disability services. So there's another 8% out there that may need some sort of an accommodation. And then on top of that, there's another 11% where English is not their first language. So we're talking 19% of the students that could potentially use this and benefit from it are not even really on the radar.
And so, right now, putting our universal design for learning hats on, we want to make these part of the academic experience. Have these supports already out there where students don't have to request them, they're just part of the natural environment, prescribed like from some of the principles of universal design, so that students can express themselves differently, but also engage in the curriculum in various ways. And we think captioning is part of that important process. And we must have touched upon a nerve because, again, every academic unit came. From our computing center to the people who oversee our distance ed, every academic unit on campus, university hospitals, law school, all showed up. And so we decided maybe put together a roadmap. What are we going to do? We've got everybody together, we've got all this energy, and so we sort of put together a committee, and here's what we sort of decided to do. Well, one thing, do we use YouTube? You know, some people really thought YouTube had all the answers, like myself, and other people instantly went to all these weird, almost inappropriate examples that YouTube auto-captioning has put together. You know, or YouTube can try to go in there and listen electronically what's being said and generate captions. And sometimes it comes up with some silly stuff like Achrazoglou one time came up as awkward coleslaw, okay? So there was that controversy, camps, between using YouTube or not.
I'm candy bar.
Yeah, candy bar, yeah. And you're gonna see some other examples later on when I go into YouTube and show you this stuff, okay? So what we decided to do is, number one, let's go out there and see what other people are doing. You know, are there institutions out there already doing this, and what are they using, and how are they faring, and can we touch in, or keep in touch with them as we go through this and see their progress, and maybe we can sort of go along with them, and again, try to develop these best practices. We decide also, we've got certain tools we use on campus to create videos and stuff. Let's try to maybe create a bunch of mini guides to go with those, to help our faculty do these things, or our technologists in the colleges. And this PowerPoint is online. If you click on the owl, you'll get to those helping guides, those quick guides to captioning for all the different tools that we use on campus. And finally, doing like we are today, go out there and try to communicate with others and learn from you guys. And develop partnerships, seek grants, and maybe funding to promote this. And Patty and I have a grant proposal in on trying to start slow and start captioning, not just captioning, but making all of our materials accessible. And it's not an easy task to go through all your PowerPoints, your PDFs, and your videos, and try and make sure that those at least show a reasonable effort to make them accommodating to students who might need those kinds of supports. Well, let's look at some examples. You know, we want to find the model. What are we working towards? Now, this is the ADA 25th anniversary video I dug up, and it's got descriptive audio and captions. It's got the full Monty of supports when it comes to video.
1990, President George H.W. Bush stands at a podium. With today's signing of the landmark Americans for Disabilities Act, every man, woman, and child with a disability can now pass through once closed doors into a bright new era of equality, independence, and freedom. 25 years later.
The Americans with Disabilities Act is an integral part of our nation's civil rights journey.
Former White House advisor Claudia Gordon signed.
Notice, yeah, a couple things YouTube can't do is position the captions where you want it. They only can put it at one spot. You can't format the captions so you have boldface, italics, or larger letters and stuff like that. And this has got stuff going on all over the place.
Images feature disability rights marches, a bus painted with the words, "The Road to Freedom," performances by people with disabilities, and museum displays. Words appear at parades, trade shows, on a nationwide bus tour, during rallies, dance performances and marches, and inside a mobile museum, we celebrate the ADA. Darrell Chill Mitchell, disability activist and actor.
Employees of the ADA is very important because it gives people almost a level playing field.
A parade celebrates the ADA. A man uses a wheelchair. Drew Walker, Atlanta.
If the ADA wasn't in place, I wouldn't be able to get around because I couldn't get all the bucks.
The parade proceeds down the street. Amanda Alford, Atlanta.
So what some of that is audio description. So you heard some of it and it's not up there, it's not the words aren't up there. That was the audio description for someone that's blind. So a way for a person that's blind to be able to access these videos as well.
Shanna reads, Captioning Matters. Jenna Coulter, Louisville, Kentucky.
So in the past 25 years since the ADA has been in action, when we caption, it seems like everybody that we caption for, we always get emails that are like, "Thank you, you changed my life because I can now go through college because I have communication access that I didn't have before."
1990 stuff. President George.
So again, one of our objectives is, what are other people doing? And I thought, Gallaudet, did I pronounce that right, University? It's a university for those who are deaf, hard of hearing. What are they doing? You think they would be the experts, not experts, but a good model to look at. Maybe perhaps we can do what they're doing. And here are some examples I scoured their site for videos, and here's some examples that I found are pretty good. This is graduation a couple years ago.
Thank you. Please be seated. Our faculty and staff also deserve credit for their support and work with you. They believed in you, they challenged you, and they supported you while you were students to arrive at this day.
First, the stuff at the bottom, what tool are they using? Anybody recognize? Pause button, the speaker is, what's that off of?
YouTube.
Excellent, yep. They're using YouTube. I scoured their site, and it's all YouTube, except I found one QuickTime movie there.
Will our faculty please stand and be recognized?
And here's how they applaud.
Thank you. Please be seated. Now, will our staff also please stand and be recognized? Thank you.
Okay. Here's one that's interesting. What do they use captions here for? The audio's on. It's working. Isn't that weird? It's for all of us with audio dependencies, right? We have to understand what they are saying. So there's sort of a reversal there. That's the vice president and president of student groups. Again, what we found from them, and again, I would have to say that they probably are experts, because YouTube is not a tool to be thrown away. It's something to have in your toolbox to caption, and that's what I use a lot. And there's some, I'll be showing you some of the stuff that goes in there, and some of the changes YouTube has recently made to make things a little bit more difficult. Rev. I don't work for this company, I don't get feedback or kickbacks from them, but it's worked very well for our faculty, $1 a minute. Upload video, upload files, paste URLs, or pull them off YouTube or Vimeo, secure and confidential. You upload it to them. Rev team goes to work, and guess what I heard that they use to caption? YouTube. From what I've heard, from talking to other people, is for most of the time, the audio's good, they put it through YouTube's auto captioning, again, tries to hear what you say, and of course there's mistakes, and then they always go back and mop it up, and fix it up. So review team, the rev team goes to work, our team, not software, captions your video 24/7 with 99% accuracy, 100% guaranteed. We email you the file, which you can easily edit with our tools. Files in 30 minutes are delivered in 24 hours or less. Again, $1 per minute, 24 hours, turnaround, 99% accuracy. And if you've been on reviews online, that's pretty good reviews. Again, we've had good luck with rev.com. Sir?
Do they send you the caption file, or do they send you a video with the captions embedded?
Caption file, SRT file.
Okay, SRT.
Subreddit, yeah, yep. They send you a text file that you then apply to your video. Very good. So it's more or less like a stenographer service. But again, go ahead.
The turnaround that we've had is 24 to 48 hours. So this isn't something you can do, kind of on the fly, but a day or two. We usually have our videos done a day or two ahead of time.
But in K-12 schools, who usually ends up paying $1 a minute? Teachers? All right, unless you got that built in. The University of Iowa put together a budget. We tried to put together how many hours and hours and hours of rev, but that got cut, all right? But I think that's the way we can do it as an institution, is centrally having funds available for faculty and teachers to tap into to get these things captioned. That's a company I would recommend. And that's what these SRT files look like. Okay, there's different file formats, but SRT files are usually easy to import in any video software like Monaco, okay? And at the top, very top number, it's more or less saying from 0.989 seconds to 7.289, the words fight, whatever I was saying up here. So that's how these caption files look like, these SRT, or again, there's various other formats that go into this. And you'll see these words come up again, okay? So what I want to do here now, this is always risky, is go into YouTube and show you how all this works, all right? A couple things that YouTube has done, and again, especially with Chromebooks and one-on-one with Chromebooks. First of all, a while back, they took away the ability for you to capture off your webcam. You know, Chromebooks, which we use a lot, which we think have great potential in schools, can't save video to themselves because they aren't made to be something to be saved to. There's no big, huge hard drive space. That's the whole idea. Everything is in the cloud, usually through a browser. Well, how do you do video on a Chromebook? Well, YouTube had a great solution. As you record, it doesn't get saved locally. It gets saved to YouTube, all right? So it saves the Chromebook from having to try to find a place to store that stuff in real time, all right? YouTube last month just changed a lot of other things. Again, a little disappointing. There used to be an editor in YouTube where you can put title pages and put descriptive audio, play with audio, add music and descriptive audio and stuff like that. They took away almost all the editing features. I think YouTube wants to become just a repository of stuff that people will upload to and make money off of. But we found another product. How many people have used Zoom before? Okay. Zoom has a feature that lets you record and save on the cloud. If you have a Zoom Pro account, you can save and record on their cloud storage. You don't get that much. You get about a gigabyte free. All right. What's enough for our students to do their uploading of their videos of them teaching, which are usually up to 12, 15 minutes long, which is about 400 megabytes, all right? Almost half the storage there. But if you're really attentive, you can use Zoom. And so what our students are doing, what we're going to recommend is they save on the cloud with Zoom, all right? And then they download as MP4 file, and then they upload to YouTube to caption things. And then they can download as MP4 file from YouTube and put it anywhere else, or just keep it up on YouTube. That uploading and captioning YouTube does two things. Number one, you can capture, and number two, it's a place to distribute worldwide your video. Yeah?
Zoom will be captioning in the cloud themselves.
Yeah. Okay, now get this. Our computing center.
Did people hear that?
Yeah, Zoom will be captioning in the cloud. And I just hope that, okay, here's what's going on at College of Ed, University of Iowa. We used to have something called Adobe Connect. Anybody remember that? It's an old, not old, it's still around, video conferencing system built towards education. But it was costing a lot of money. You had to have Adobe servers, and people run the servers, and technical support. Adobe is like a black hole. You can contact them, and they hardly ever reply. They're a big, big ticket customer. Well, we found out that if we pulled the plug on that server and all the licensing and support that goes in Adobe Connect, we could buy, believe this or not, every faculty, staff, and student a Zoom Pro account. All right? And that's incredible. You know, now our students have the ability to go out and collaborate with each other, or go out there and bring in communities that they wouldn't be able to. But our computing center turned off captioning and cloud storage. Okay. And I just had a long conversation with them last week why we should turn that on. And hopefully they'll listen and that. But that's always a compromise between what sometimes you try to do innovation, but sometimes central to powers and authorities don't see it that way. Okay, now why would you ever want to say, well, we've got Chromebooks, and that's what the schools are going to, and that's what our students, we have a donor now.
Oh, you used the word Chromebook. That was the problem.
That used Chromebook and YouTube. But we have a donor now, the University of Iowa, who gives every incoming student in our teacher education program a free Chromebook. Before she would give iPads, but we saw that Chromebooks were really hitting, and Google Apps hitting education like a big tidal wave, and so she on her own decided we might want to look at Chromebooks so that students can really become citizens in this world that Google seems to be trapping, okay? So that's why we got geared towards Chromebooks and trying to create a cloud resources as much as we can, because we see that as the way education is going. Again, that might change, who knows. But YouTube did throw a curveball at us by not being able to upload right from the webcam. We use Zoom for that now, record a session. And then also, you have to put in basic things like titles, end titles, add music and things like that very easily, all right? They used to have a nice fine editor, and they took it off because they said nobody used it. Well, on their blogs, there's a lot of teachers and a lot of other people who complain about it not being available anymore. Well, let me show you how this is all done. I'm just getting out my PowerPoint. Okay, escape. Let me hide PowerPoint. And I'm going to start from scratch using Chrome. Start from scratch. Well, later on at 1 o'clock, Patty and I are presenting the double robot. If you're interested on the robot end of things. And my mouse, I think a little batteries are going dead, so I might have to use the clunky scratch pad. So I'll just go to a Google resource, just show you from scratch how this happens and how you get to these things now, Google's new, or YouTube's new format. It's logged me in. I went to google.com, just go to Google resource. Yep, it's logged me in. So now I'm going to go from all different apps available to YouTube. And I've got a video here, short video, that I want to caption. And here's all the stuff. If you know me, I'm into cars, muscle cars and stuff like that. What I want to do is find my video, and they make it harder and harder. Now what you've got to do to find your video manager is what I would really like to want to go to, but it's getting harder to find. They now have something called Creative Studio. They're trying to change everything to Creative Studio. And there's my video manager way over here to the left.
Yeah, that used to just come up.
Yeah, that used to be a lot easier to get to. Yeah, they changed some things. It's just a little bit more complicated to get to it.
They're always moving video manager around, so you just keep searching for it.
Yep. Yeah, going to the Creative Studio seems to be an avenue towards the video manager. Karachi. Just a side note here, using Zoom, we're connecting junior high school kids from Karachi, Pakistan, population about 20 million, with kids from Donaldson Schools, Central Way School District, population 951, with Zoom. Sharing stories, trying to see, hopefully, that they see that they're more alike than different. We'd like to think of trying to build bridges and not walls between people that we've got to improve relationships. And that's happening Wednesday morning. Unfortunately, a 10-hour time difference. It's 7:30 a.m. here in Iowa, and it's 5:30 p.m. in Karachi, so it's almost doable. The kids from Donaldson, we've got about 30 of them who volunteered to try to do this, are coming in early, and the kids from Karachi are staying late, okay? And they're gonna have an icebreaker, and then we're gonna share PowerPoints, what school's like, and then we've got a robot that we're gonna put in Donaldson on Wednesday, and the kids from Karachi control it, just to find out what it's like. Again, a very rural school district out in the middle of nowhere. These kids are one of the most urban centers in the world. Just going through the school with a robot, looking around the cafeteria and gym, and maybe go visit the principal's office and stuff like that. And you take pictures, and we'll be describing that work in our 1 o'clock presentation. But here's the one I want to go to. Iowa Fight Song, and I'll play it. I don't know if anybody's ever heard this. Oops, I went full screen on you.
The Iowa Fight Song by John Achrazoglou. The word is fight, fight, fight for Iowa. Let every loyal Iowan sing. The word is fight, fight, fight for Iowa. Until the walls and rafters ring. Go Hawks. Come on and cheer, cheer, cheer for Iowa. Come and cheer until you hear the final gun. The word is fight, fight, fight for Iowa until the game is won.
All right. Well, that's the video we're going to caption. And subtitles in CC. They moved that. They used to be towards the middle more. Hopefully they don't get rid of this tool someday. So, if your video's out on YouTube for a while, sometimes it's within an hour, sometimes within a day, it's auto captioning, grabs it, and tries to make captions. And let me show you what those look like, automatic. And let me play and show you what those look like. Put on captions, and then play.
The Iowa Fight Song by John Achrazoglou. The word is fight, fight, fight for Iowa. Let every loyal Iowan
Still
sing.
twice, because
The word is fight, fight, fight for Iowa. Until the walls and rafters ring. Go Hawks. Come on and cheer, cheer, cheer for Iowa. Come and cheer till you hear.
Let me make sure, I'm going to go back here. The first thing it asks you, I should mention, is when you go into captions, what language? And there's like a ton of languages, and I chose English, and then we choose that. And I'm not sure why it's going to twice.
Don't hit the CC.
Let's see here.
The Iowa Fight Song by John Achrazoglou.
All right.
Do you want to stop for a minute? See? Can you see that the T on the is not capitalized? And then it's John Achrazoglou or glue. That's one I
that's a test for captioning. Yep.
All right. So.
And in punctuation, you won't see their periods or commas or stuff. That's how I can know that something is. I've only gotten better. John was capitalized. In Iowa, I figured out was capitalized.
Word is fight, fight, fight for Iowa. Let every loyal Iowan sing. The word is fight, fight, fight for Iowa.
Bad, right?
Until the walls and rafters ring. Go Hawks.
At the bottom, clean it up.
Yep, to clean this up, click on Edit. And there it is. Right here. And look at even the timing code. You can play around with that. But John, crows or glue. Let me just fix that. And again, just typing.
It's pretty simple.
Very simple. And you can just go through there and you can, I think if you click on it, and hit play, it'll show you.
The Iowa Fight Song by John Achrazoglou.
There we go.
The word is fight, fight, fight for.
So what you would do is just, again, this is what I call mopping up. Go through the script and fight, fight, fight for Iowa. Let's say I want to put a period there. Again, it does not put periods and then start with capital letters. And I'm just hitting backspace, capital L. And that's how easy it is to fix up naughty captions.
And some of them are naughty.
Yeah.
I have seen some that are naughty. One that I've seen is, it's the trailer from the movie Frozen. It's got some really bad ones. It's got the F word, it's got,
it's not
really bad.
It's what the auto captioning found.
Yeah.
So before you let it loose on kids, make sure you go through there and review it and fix things up. Yes?
One quick question. So with something like this that has cadence and that sort of thing, where you have lines to the song, I notice a few of these, it splits between the lines to the song. Are there ways, without having to go in manually and do the timing, to group things the way you want them to appear?
Right here, there's a little slider. Go one way, and it appears longer. Slide it this way, it doesn't appear as long. Can you guys see that back there? Isn't that cool? Yeah. Yes, back there.
John, now, and maybe I should already know this, but now you'll be able to, once that's captioned, export that back out as MP4 and it'll have the captioning already on it?
Nope.
No?
Nope. There's two pieces to this, the video and the captioning is a different file.
Okay.
So you have to export the caption file. I'll show you that's that.
Sure.
Okay. Yep. So I'm going to click Publish Edits, and it'll take a while to do that, so I won't do that, but when I hit Publish Edits, it will save these captions, okay? Let me go back here to captions. This is sort of where you're coming from. All right. So right now, it's using the automatic captions, okay? And it's recovered the edits. It's saying, John, I'm not going to let those go. You haven't saved the publish. I'm going to hang on those cases, But here is where this other magic happens.
So there's, he's going to show you, what, 3 different ways to do this?
Again, English.
So the first one was auto captioning and mop it up.
Yep.
So this is the second way.
Yep, yep. Upload a file. Okay, let's say you got a transcript. You
Got
know,
a
some-
transcript from Rev.
Yep, this is exactly beauty, Patty. I'll overwrite this version of English, that's okay. I'm going to choose my file. You know, last night at the hotel room, that confirmed it was here, iTech 2017. And here's it in Word, but you got to save it as a text file in Word, okay? My transcript, okay, and what I said. Click there, open, and upload. All right, and there is my transcript. The next thing, I did notice that apostrophes come up as little weird doohickeys. You know, on Word, you can have fancy apostrophes, or everything straight up down. That's what we finally figured out what it was. Don't use the stylized apostrophes, you won't get those. It doesn't harm anything, it just looks weird. I can go through there right now in real time and get rid of those if I wanted to, all right? I don't want to spend all that time. Should have done it like that. And then the next thing to do is say or set the timing. It's going to go through there, and it's going to set the timing so it listens to what is being said, and then assigns the transcript to follow what is being said. And sometimes this takes time. Go ahead.
So on this transcript, you didn't have the timestamps.
Straight text file.
So this was just a straight text file. And so, like many times when I'm doing a video, I'll have my notes. I'm doing a PowerPoint. I'm recording it in Zoom, and I've got my notes that I'm actually reading from my notes. And if I'm doing my videos that way, I'm reading from my notes, I can use those notes to I just copy those into Word, and I've got my transcript.
Yep, yep.
And that's essentially what John did here, was he had his transcript from, he could have typed it out in Word, or he would have copied it over from PowerPoint into Word, saved it as a text file, and then YouTube is doing the timings.
You know, Rev, that's sort of what Rev does. But, you know, with me, a lot of times I do this stuff like day before classes start. The class starts, and I don't have time to send it up and wait 24 hours, sometimes 48 hours to get it back. I gotta get it done right away. That's how I operate, you know, just in time. Now, it is taking time to set timings, okay? But what will come back is a really accurate connection between the words and what's being said. So that's one way. Import your transcript, all right? Let me see, let's get out of this routine, because sometimes depending on bandwidth, it will take a little bit. And see if I can get us out of there. Back here. Oh, okay. Let me see if I don't know if this is the transcript version.
The Iowa Fight Song by John Achrazoglou.
No, this is the automatic.
The word is fight, fight, fight for.
So, well, here it is.
Here it is, yeah.
You can tell by the capitalization. And look at the doohickeys. Let's see what happens here.
The Iowa Fight Song by John Achrazoglou. The word is fight, fight, fight for Iowa. Let every loyal Iowan sing. The word is fight, fight, fight for Iowa.
Then again,
until the walls end, fight, fight for Iowa.
If you want to put a few more exclamation marks there, and then hit play, no where you're at, it will repeat. It's sort of showing up in light blue. I don't know if you can see.
Iowa. Let every loyal Iowan sing. Fight, fight for Iowa.
Okay.
Let every loyal
so you can fix
Iowan
in here.
sing.
And that's one of the options.
Fight,
You want
fight,
to repeat, just fix, or just go on.
Walls and rafters and
click
go
somewhere, turn
on.
that off.
Come on and cheer,
When I'm
cheer,
done,
cheer
I
for
click publish.
Iowa.
All right.
And cheer until you hear the final
Go back
gun.
to this. I publish
The word
it
is fight,
again.
fight,
It might
fight
take a
for
while for
Iowa until the game.
All right, well, that's published, all right? So, when I put this out there for distribution, I can choose the automatic to be the way people see it, or the English. Let's go back to sort of the final way, and then go back to the question about, again, English, discard published subtitles, overwrite them. Okay, but they're still there. They're still there. Transcribe and auto sync. What you do there is that same window comes up, and you can paste your transcript, all right?
Or you can type.
You can type as you listen, okay? Now, as you type as you listen, fight. Oops. Is that right? Yeah. Et cetera. Click pause, and then here, pause video while typing, all right? I think
So
if you play, you can type and pause, and type and pause. All
So
right?
this is, if I've got a 1 or 2 minute video, maybe it's an introduction, I'll do this. And maybe I've just kind of on the fly done a 1 or 2 minute video. I'll type it out as it is.
The Iowa Fight Song by John Achrazoglou. The word is fight, fight, fight for Iowa.
All right?
Let every loyal Iowan sing. The word is fight, fight, fight for Iowa.
Oops.
Until the walls and rafters ring. Go Hawks.
If I click up
Come on,
here and
cheer,
start
cheer,
typing, it stops.
cheer for
Iowa's,
Iowa.
as I type, I'm just typing gobbledygook.
Come in, cheer until you hear the final gun.
You can see what
The
it's
word is
you
fight,
can hear what
fight,
it said,
fight for
guess what
Iowa.
you're doing
Until the game
okay?
is won.
Upload, download, here it is. Let's say, again, publish, and they're there. When you want to download, or when you, what's that? Oops, download. You'll download the MP3 file, or the SRT file. All right? And so what you would do, then go back to Video Manager. Download it as an MP4. And then you download the captions file. And maybe in another program that you're broadcasting with, we'll put them together. All right? But then all is done already on YouTube. And that's how I distribute. Just so you know, our policy and security people look at YouTube. And they say when it is secured, when you set privacy to private, it's pretty private.
Show me.
Yeah, okay. Let's see, info and settings. And this right now is public, so you guys can see it if you wanted to. Unlisted means those who have the URL can view it, and search engines can't find it. Private means you give the email addresses of those people who can only see it, all right? Usually we tell students to go unlisted.
Most of the time we use unlisted for our classes, and then we just use the URL, so you can see it up in the top. Right now it's under edit, but if you've got that URL, you can share that with anyone.
So again, the MP4 file is one thing, and again, people think that the SRT file also contains video. No, it's just a text file. Just a text file with the timings in the text. Okay? Just got a couple minutes here. We're going to show you some examples of some naughty captions and all that, but we ran out of time, huh, Patty?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's okay, because this was important.
Yeah. But any questions, comments, recommendations, anything different that you thought we should have shown or mentioned on any of this? Yes.
I just have a question. When you said you can pick the language, are you picking the language that is in the video so it identifies it?
Yes.
Or is there an option where you can change the language so you have a caption in another language if needed?
You know, that's a good one. Because you know, when I paste it in, captions, I can paste in, I wonder if I use a Greek or something. If the captions would come out Greek. I've never really used the language option, but let's do this really quick.
I think the language option is mostly for if you've done it in French, and it's going to recognize, oh, this is French, so that it recognizes it better.
Here's one that I've never touched captions. All right, select language. English, 187 others. Okay, search, name a language, that's weird. Greek? All right, it used to list the languages, and that's another change they made. So you just type in, and there's a Lenica Greek, okay? You know, that's a good question. It has to do with what language is spoken, or putting in what's spoken so it identifies. But I think that's interesting where you can have English, but showing captions in Chinese or something. I think it'd be really cool and powerful. I'm not sure.
Does anyone know the answer to that for sure?
No.
So this PowerPoint is up, as there's a link. And the last two slides that we had, one is some links to so this is a link to a webinar. This first one is an hour-long link to a webinar with that argument about fair use and being able to caption other people's stuff. And then video converter is that there's another link in there, so that if you want to use someone else's video in your class and it's not captioned, you know, do you have the right to caption it or not?
Because that's sticky icky. If that's your video, and I know when you're going to mess with it and edit it and caption it. And they're saying yes.
So what our Student Disability Services said was that if it's for a student with a disability, we have a right to caption it. And so you can take that file, save it as an MP4, put it into that video converter, and then you've got it into a form that you can put it back into YouTube and caption it yourself, because then it's yours technically.
You know how to sort of cheat? When you zoom, I can Zoom again, and record the screen, the desktop. That's how we steal not steal, we capture videos that we want to later on caption.
Do you make sure that's unlisted or anything? Do you do that?
Unlisted in YouTube?
Yeah.
And
it depends. Okay, for this presentation, I think public is good, right? But it depends on the level of data. Level 1, secure data, public. Level 2, when it's academic stuff, I would definitely have, unless if it's student work.
Well, I mean more if it's like the Frozen video, is someone gonna flag it or like?
Oh, and that we've stolen it.
Yeah.
And YouTube does a good job sometimes. My wife is a Zumba teacher, and sometimes she tries to use third-party songs, and YouTube says, no, this is copyright material. And it's really weird how it can pick up on. You know, that's a good one.
And what you need
but we have the right to do it. Legally, we got the right to do it.
But legally, to cover yourself, and we're not, I mean, you need to check with your legal people at your organization. But what Student Disability Services has told us is that we should do our due diligence to contact the owner of that video and ask them if it's okay to caption.
So your question is answered. Do you want a federal lawsuit or a lawsuit from Frozen?
Yeah. Well, do you want a lawsuit from a person that you caption their video, or do you think you might get a lawsuit for showing things that are not captioned?
We've got a student who's dyslexic.
You've got to choose.
And he's writing his dissertation by talking to the computer and listening to it, right? And the central computer kept on losing his dragging. You guys don't drag it and dictate and talk to the computer his files. And there's a federal lawsuit. We got to get together to make sure. Again, he's writing a 300-page dissertation, and he just can't afford for them to keep on losing his voice profile and having to recreate it and get to the accuracy he needs to be productive.
So also in the PowerPoint, there's a couple of examples of the Frozen trailer. If you want to use this for your training, it's kind of nice. It's 1.5 minutes long. So literally, it's...
And then Patty took down an example with the naughty F word in it, the captions.
You can watch that 3 times in 5 minutes and have people watch it with their eyes closed so they get the audio described. You can watch it with the sound turned off, and then you've got the simulation of watching it when you're deaf, and then you've got the one that's both.
So that's pretty much it. I know you guys have to go to other presentations, but you're more than welcome to stick around here unless we get kicked out.
Yeah, we'll get kicked out by now.
Okay. But any final questions or comments before we adjourn?
Well, thank you so
Well,
much.
thank you guys. That was very good.